Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're gonna take a look at a very strong team here for the Open Great League with two of the new buffed Pokemon. I kinda want to try out the Alolan Sandslash again because the first time I tried it out it was like at rank 1. Those battles are a little bit further on, and we're going to have here now also the Deoxys defense, which you also most likely saw a lot of times in our opponent's teams already. Because as I said in my video for the top 10 Pokemon that you should build for the season, this is one of the Pokemon that got buffed quite a bit there. So like this Pokemon here, while it didn't get buffed in terms of the moves that it has or anything else, it still got buffed because the meta changed very in favor for this Pokemon. So definitely highly recommend you to build a Deoxys defense, allowing you to destroy Ice-type Pokemon, Steel-type Pokemon, as well as the Medicham, which is really important right now, especially as the hardest answer for this Pokemon, the Trevenant, is now gone. But even if you're going to encounter a Trevenant, you're going to have two very nice Pokemon for this one in the back here. We're going to go ahead here, go into our Deoxys again, go for the Psycho Boost, and then swap out into our Dewgong. Dewgong honestly surprised me. This team here itself is something I can highly recommend you to use this one, because this team in general worked out so well for me, but also Dewgong was just so strong. This Pokemon was so amazing. Like as a Say-Stop, this Pokemon is basically as good as, for example, the Quagsire. Finally, we have some really decent Say-Stops in this meta again, and as you're going to see here right now, the opponent can still go for the Earthquake. It still doesn't do a lot of damage. We can farm them all the way down here. We can go ahead and win this first game, but this Pokemon itself, there were games where I won against a Registeel with this Pokemon. You're going to see it later on as well, stay tuned for that one. But if you enjoyed the content recently with all the new Pokemon, please leave a like on the video. It really helps me out, especially if you subscribe as well. It's all for free, as you're going to see here right now. The Swampert going for the bait. That's totally okay for me, as I can still go ahead and go for the Icy Wind before they could go for an Earthquake. They're going to decide to let this move go through, and they're going to swap out here with their move stored, which is going to be okay for us as we see the Umbreon coming in. We will be able to now go ahead, go for the Icy Wind, and get the farm down here a little bit. Gonna get the attack drop, which is the most important thing for this one. Icy Wind is such a strong move on this Pokemon. Honestly, as you're going to see here as well, the Umbreon just doesn't really do too much damage anymore. We can go ahead, go for another Icy Wind. In this point of time, I can even swap out into our Deoxys. Yes, this doesn't really make too much sense in terms of the typing, but because they're double debuffed and because counter is super effective, we're gonna be able to get a ton of energy here. And I'm also going to shield up this charge move from the opponent, as I can farm them all the way down now. The Swampert is going to go down here. We're going to see the opponent going back into the Umbreon, allowing us to knock them out with a one Thunderbolt here as well. Let's take a look if they're going to let this move go through. Yes, they do. And now we're going to see the final Pokemon, which is going to be the poor Noctowl here, which still has to deal with both our, Deoxys here, as well as even like our Dewgong in the back still has a lot of health left. So there's no doubt that this Pokemon will be able to do against me here, as I can go back into my Sandslash, and at this point of time they should already forfeit, but they decide not to do this. I can go ahead, go for a charge move here. Ice Punch is doing a ton of damage. They're gonna go for their own charge move here, and afterwards I can just swap out into my Dewgong, and I should be able to win this game, or just stay in and try to catch a move, which also works out apparently. Going to be the Sky Attack here. They can farm me down, but it doesn't really help them, as Ice Shot going to take them down as well, and we still have a Pokemon left. So very decent for us. And we're going to have a lead here, which I don't really like to see, but we would have Thunderbolt later on. But this is an ABB line here in general. Like if you don't know how ABB works, or like what ABB lines are, you basically have a very similar Pokemon in the back there. Like both of them are Ice types, both of them have weaknesses against Fighting type Pokemon, for example. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have an answer for the problems of our backline in the lead, but we always basically in a neutral scenario want to swap out. Like the matchup against Pelipper is pretty neutral. We have Thunderbolt, they have some neutral moves against us. You could play this one out if you wanted to, but you don't really want to play this one out if you have an ABB line. As you're going to see here right now as well, I'm going to let the first move go through. It's going to be the Weather Ball actually. The second one I'm going to shield up now. Let's see what they're going to do here as well. I will be able to go ahead and go for the shield against the Hurricane, which is really nice, and we're going to see the Noctowl coming in. We're going to have now a very decent match for us. But yeah, again, if you don't know how ABB works, you kind of want to have this weakness in the back. I see a lot of comments below where you're like, oh, what happens if your lead is gone? Do you encounter a Fighting type in the back? If this happens, then you definitely played this team wrong, because this is not how it's supposed to happen. You should try to bait them out with your Say-Stop, which is here clearly better the Dewgong compared to the Sandslash. Sandslash is not a good Say-Stop just because of the double weakness it has for fire as well as for fighting, while Dewgong only have single weaknesses, which is still going to be able to debuff opponents. So Yeah, definitely a cool ABB line here again, but I see a lot of people still being confused about this one. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. You know, like if you have a neutral matchup here like the Deoxys against the opponent, you kind of want to swap out. Here you definitely want to stay in because you have a very favorable matchup. The Sensors here going to take a lot of damage. I'm going to shield this move up here against them because it's going to do a ton of damage against me as well. And I kind of want to keep my Deoxys healthy as they're going to stay in here. It means that they're going to have a double weakness against me, but maybe even a triple weakness as they're going to go ahead and go into a Medicham. This is not an answer for a Deoxys, as you're going to see here right now. I can go ahead and go for the Psycho Boost, but not before they can go for their own charge move. I didn't know that they would win CMP against me, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I can go ahead, go for the Psycho Boost here, get the shield, can swap out with a move stored and go into my Dewgong. This seems to be a bad matchup, but Dewgong is actually pretty damn decent, as you're going to see here right now. Ice Punch is coming through, which is even better for me. I can go ahead, go for the Icy Wind here, trying to get the knockout against the opponent. We're going to have now one single Pokemon against us in the back, and it's going to be the opponent's Galarian Stunfisk here, which is going to have to take a Drill Run, and you see already, Dewgong's Drill Run does two-shot a Galarian Stunfisk, which is a very valuable information here, as you're going to be able to now have a way better matchup against this Pokemon for like any regional or whatever. It's going to be very, very nice to use this Pokemon for that one. Dewgong is a very strong Pokemon in the current meta. It's surprisingly strong. I actually thought it would be a little bit weaker than it was, but it actually does some pretty decent damage thanks to the the fast move Ice Shard doing a lot of damage over time, as well as going to be able to debuff the opponent, as well as going to be able to still hit the answers hard with Drill Run. It's such a strong Pokemon, I can highly recommend you to try it out. We're going to see now the Lantern against us in the lead. This is not ideal for this team, it's most likely the hardest answer for our lead, plus the Say-Swap of Dewgong. So we have to stay in here. While this is not a good lead, like it's not really a positive lead for us, and you don't really want to stay in here, you're kind of forced to do this at this point of time because, like, yeah, the Lantern going to be able to destroy your Say-Swap quite decently there, so you're not able to swap out here sadly. And they even go for another charge move here, which was really unfortunate because, again, they were CMP tying at us, which is not really ideal for us. But we have to go ahead and go for one charge move here with our own Sandslash in order to knock them out here. They're going to use a shield actually, which is interesting, and I'm going to use my shield as well, trying to get some more farm. They seem to have no answer against me in the back, but never mind, they have a Medicham, forcing us to go for a Drill Run, but this is not really looking good for us. We have our hard loss in the, basically he has a Say-Swap as well in the lead there, so it's going to be a tricky one to still win this game. I don't think it's going to be possible. Psychic coming through. I will be able to go for one Icy Wind here, at least trying to reduce the damage output from the opponent. They're going to let this move go through, and they're going to have a Charizard in the back, but yeah, the opponent played this out pretty well here, as Charizard going to be able to shield this move up, going to be able to get some extra energy here right now, farm up a lot of energy, go for the 2 Blast Burns and win this game for them. So honestly, there was not a lot that I could have done here, to be fair. Their backline was just too good against my backline, and I couldn't swap out of their lead, so honestly, not a lot that I can do here. It was mainly a team comm loss, I feel like. This is also going to be a little bit tricky. Marowak is a core breaker. Marowak completely destroys your lead as well as your Pokemon in the back there with the Sandslash. What I'm going to try to do here is try to go for one Drill Run early, try to get some damage onto the opponent, and try to also maybe get some shields and get some advantage later on. This is the thing here. I'm going to see the Ferrothorn coming in here. We will be able to go for an Icy Wind and debuff them, but I try to get them into a range where I can just go ahead and go for the full farmland with my Deoxys, trying to get a ton of energy here. And let's take a look on how good this is going to work here. We will be able to take this charge move coming in from the opponent. Can we fully farm them down before they can go for another charge move here? We can actually do that. And now we have a ton of energy. The opponent goes into their Marowak. We can go ahead, go for a charge move here. It's going to be the Thunderbolt, as they're going to go ahead and go for their own charge move. I'm forced to shield this move up, even though it's most likely a Bone Club, because I have to keep my Deoxys alive. I cannot let the Fire Spin do a lot of damage against my Pokemon in the back here with the Sandslash. I'm going to have to shield another charge move coming in, which is going to be the Bone Club again. As you see now, a Tentacruel coming in. We will be able to go ahead, go for one charge move here. It's going to be the Psycho Boost. We're going to get them low, but turns out I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept the Psycho Boost. I should have tried to go ahead, let the opponent just like Drill Run the opponent here, and should have a better time against the opponent like that. But we're going to still be able to go for another charge move here. The Ice Punch is coming through, punching through the opponent's Tentacruel, and one more Drill Run will seal the deal here, knocking out the opponent's Marowak. And even though we were very weak against MEWeedle here, we still were able to win this game. Next opponent, we're going to see a Deoxys defense in the lead as well, we have to stay in here. By the way, I always see when I use Deoxys defense some confusion about the IVs that I have on the right side. Story about this one is, I just didn't have a different one. Like back in the day, before PvP was out, like there was only really one time where Deoxys was, I think, in raids, in like the back in the day, those elite raids thingy, basically, actually no, EX raids it was called. So like we didn't really have a lot of people doing those raids, and we only basically get one done in my small town here, and this was the only one that I had left from that one. So yeah, like we didn't really have a lot of Deoxys left there. I didn't really have any left to build other than the 15 attack variant here. So I basically have the worst possible Deoxys currently for the Great League, which is kind of funny. But I could upgrade this most likely with the new ones that are caught afterwards when they were in normal raids, but still haven't done that. Mostly I should do that if I use it in like any competitive meta. But here we're going to see actually my favorite matchup of today. We see here now the Dewgong against a Registeel. This is going to be not really an ideal one for me, especially as the Registeel is going to be able to go for the super effective moves that most likely one-shot me or come close to one-shotting me. I will be able to go for the bait move here, luckily against the opponent now because they are forced to shield, and I still have to catch a charge move here. And this works out so well. We will be able to now catch the Zap Cannon from the opponent onto our Deoxys. We have now the Dewgong in the perfect matchup here. I will be able to go for another charge move against them with a drill run, and the opponent going to try to swap out here to catch a move. Didn't work out for the Wobbuffet. We will be able to take a move here easily, and we will be able to also win CMP against the opponent's what's called the opponent's Registeel here, as this AC Wind actually does not knock them out. I can still go for another fast move here in this drill run. We'll be able to knock out the opponent's Registeel here, and you see literally Dewgong did all the damage against the Registeel by being shielded down, which is also even funnier. Of course I had to catch a move, of course I was like 2 fast moves up energy there, but still very cool there. Very nice to see the Dewgong beating our Registeel, which seems to be so wrong because for ages Dewgong had no chance basically hitting any steel type. So very cool to see here that we were able to do that one. Here I think that's going to be a game that I completely misplay as well. I'm pretty sure this was the game that I misplay. We're going to see here a Pokemon that I also don't really like to see, Ninetales with Overheat here. We're going to see a Frosters coming in here, and I kind of want to see how much damage the drill run going to do if we can two-shot them here. And we cannot, so that's going to be a little bit of a tough one, because I kind of want to get more energy on my on my Sandslash in the back there, but I don't think that this Frosters here going to really work well for us, as we're going to be able to go for one drill run, and we're actually going to be able to farm them down. I didn't expect this one. So far, so good. Let's take a look what's coming in here. It's going to be the Tapu Fini. This is not really ideal for us. We can go ahead and go for one charge move here. But I'm going to decide to swap out here, and my opponent swapped immediately. If they didn't swap immediately here, I should have been fine, but I actually don't know why they did this. Could have been a little bit risky for them, and they get to the move here with a 1 HP left. If I got the farm down there, I would have been able to win this game, but because they just got to the move here, this game is over at this point of time. Good game to them though, but was a little bit unlucky for me that we swapped basically at the same time, but he swapped into a fire type against me swapping into a ice plus steel typing. Kinda unlucky, but that's okay. We're going to see in the next opponent, going to have the buffed variant now of the normal Stunfisk. This Pokemon has access to the move Mud Bomb, of course, and going to definitely take advantage of the recent move updates. Here we're going to see this Grafty coming in. While this seems to be a very bad matchup for us, this is what I mean with Dewgong being a very good save stop. Yes, this is a hard answer for Dewgong. Yes, we're most likely going to lose this matchup, but especially if they have Acid Spray, for whatever reason they do have Acid Spray here, we're going to be able to still kinda claw back with our charge moves, and we do so much damage with our fast move alone that we're going to be able to still survive this Acid Spray here. And I kinda want to keep the Dewgong alive for maybe later on getting some energy against some other Pokemon, as they're going to encounter now the Skarmory coming in. We will be able to go for one Thunderbolt, forcing a shield from the opponent here, as they know that we're going to most likely hit them pretty hard. They go straight for their own charge move, which is going to be a Sky Attack, does not knock me out, they can still get to another one, but they decide for whatever reason to swap into their own Stunfisk, allowing me to nearly knocking them out here, but actually knocking them out in return. And I feel like I can still go for an Icy Wind against the opponent here with my Dewgong, and like literally with a few HP left, I will be able to reach his charge move, going to get the opponent super low, and at this point of time, our Sandslash will just be able to farm them all the way down. No shielding the first move here, it's going to be a Sky Attack, does no damage, and we will be able to just farm them all the way down before they can do anything. Winning us this game here, good game to the opponent. Next opponent, LilyNiRiain. That's going to be also an interesting matchup to see because LilyNiRiain actually can be a little bit tricky for the Deoxys. I just gonna go ahead, go for one charge move here. I had some standing lag there, as you can see that I didn't get the excellent even though I had all the bubbles. Just frame drops, didn't let the bubbles even appear, which is kind of wild. But we're going to see now the LilyNiRiain against us. We will be able to go for some icy wins against the opponent here. And we will be able to hopefully now farm them all the way down, as we can take another charge move from the opponent. It's going to be the Power Whip, of course, but we can take this pretty easily, as we see a Tapu Fini coming in here. You see me going for the wrong move. You're going to see me get to go for the Icy Wind, but this will allow us to easily survive a Surf. The opponent is now forced to go for their own Moonblast. Before, Surf would have been able to knock me out, but Moonblast is now the only way of knocking me out at this point of time, because Surf clearly doesn't do enough damage, but the opponent doesn't know about this, and I know about this. I can go for one charge move here, swap out into my Deoxys. Oh, never mind, they let this move go through, so I can go ahead and go actually still into my Deoxys, because they had some energy here. I know that I don't really need my Deoxys for the other matchup, so I can just let this move go through here. Just stack this Pokemon completely, hope that the opponent doesn't farm up too much extra. If they go ahead and go for the bait here, it's going to be fine as well. But I will be able to now go ahead, go into my Sand Slash and finish up this game here, as they can go ahead, go for their own charge move. I can let this move go through. Poison Fang coming through, it doesn't do enough damage. They didn't bait me, they did bait me here, which is really nice for me. And now they still have their Shadow Ball, of course, stored there. But we can shield up the next charge move coming in, we should be fine here. At this point of time, I thought I would have won this game here right now. But then I realized after KOing this Pokemon, they still had a Pokemon with a LilyNiRiain. Luckily they forfeit here. I don't know if they could have got to another charge move, maybe even knocked me out with all the debuffs. But honestly, didn't really think about this. Nearly stopped tapping there as well because I forgot about this Pokemon even existing. So that's a great one there. But yeah, we're going to see now a Galarian Stunfisk against us. Of course, having access to the super effective moves for us. The Rock Slide here going to get shielded by us, as it would do around, I think around 50%. And we're going to get out a counter user, it seems like here. I didn't see which counter user. It's going to be the Medicham. What a surprise. People running Medicham. Not too shocked. Medicham would be also a good alternative for Deoxys in the lead here if you want to. But I like Deoxys quite a bit because of the spamminess, as well as like Psycho Boost doing so much damage here. But we're going to now see the opponent going for the Power Punch. I don't know why the opponent didn't do this prior, because now we will be able to still reach another move. But no, we're going to swap out here and we catch a charge move from the opponent, which is going to be the Ice Punch coming our way now. We're going to be able to farm them all the way down, at least I try to. I can go for one Psycho Boost here right now. I can go for another fast move and then go for another Psycho Boost. Can we even hit a third Psycho Boost in a row here? Let me take a look at this one. We cannot. Sadly, they're going to be able to knock me out in time, and we have to let this move go through against us. It's going to be the Rock Slide. We have now only our Sand Slash left to win this game. Let's take a look what they're going to try to do here. It's going to come in now. The Pidgeot, this is going to be interesting for us. We will be able to go for another charge move here, and they're actually going to let the first move go through already, even though they could have debuffed us. I'm not going to throw immediately here because the opponent basically is only placed to catch a charge move here from us. So I'm overfine by way too much, as the opponent didn't even try to catch for long, but now they tried to do it. It didn't really work out for them, and this is going to be game. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, you see 2 videos on the screen. If you're interested in those, click them please. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and see you soon. Bye bye.